I disowned my 14-year-old daughter when I found out she wasn't mine. Now my ex wants to get back together. I found out my daughter wasn't mine, and I'd always known, somewhere deep down. Not because I loved her any less. I never treated her differently, not once. Not a cold look, not a shorter hug, not a single moment where she felt like anything other than my daughter. But I knew. When my wife's affair partner's name started appearing in places it shouldn't, I had my answer confirmed. I filed for divorce immediately and spent weeks asking myself the hardest question I'd ever faced. What role do I play now? I was leaning toward once a week. Something quiet, civil. I'd still pay child support, still show up. I hadn't decided to disappear. I decided to be careful. Then they came to the house. My ex sat across from me with the kind of rehearsed calm that told me she'd practiced this conversation. My daughter sat beside her, and then she said it. You shouldn't expect to mean more to her than her biological father. I lost it. I told them both to get out. Told my ex good luck collecting anything from her broke AP. The door closed, and I sat alone feeling the kind of shame that doesn't announce itself loudly. It just settles in quietly and stays. I knew I was wrong for that. I'm not asking about that part. What I kept asking was whether I had the right to step back entirely. No legal obligation where I live. No court forcing my hand. Just a choice. And I was close to making it. So I called my daughter. I told her I still loved her, that nothing had changed on my end. But I was honest. I said my financial support going forward would be on my terms, my amount, my timeline. Not because I wanted to punish her, but because I refused to let money become the only reason I existed in her life. My ex panicked, tried to guilt me into a corner. I shut it down immediately. What happened next is the part I wasn't ready for. My daughter looked at me and said that if I wanted to be something like a close family friend, rather than a father, she'd respect that. She wasn't going to pressure me to raise someone who wasn't biologically mine. But she couldn't survive me cutting her out emotionally. I sat with that for a second. Then I told her the truth. That if I had any choice at all, I'd want her with me always. That the reason I was pulling back wasn't about her. It was about not being able to stomach her biological parents. She started sobbing. Not quietly. The kind of crying that comes from somewhere you've been holding for a long time. Her mother froze. I asked what was wrong, and she told me everything. That before her bio-father's finances collapsed, my ex had been working on her. Slowly, methodically, trying to convince her to cut me off and build a life with her real family. And now that the money was gone, suddenly I was worth keeping around again. My daughter had figured it out. She told me she wanted nothing to do with her mother, that she'd walk away from her biological father completely if that's what it took. That the only reason she'd said what she said earlier, about not expecting to mean more than her bio dad, was because she was terrified I didn't want her anymore. She was testing me, seeing if there was still a door open. There was one condition I gave her. One. She agreed without hesitating. My ex tried to grab her and end the conversation right there. I stopped her. There was a scene. My ex left. My daughter stayed. Now it's lawyers and courts and whatever comes next. My ex made her choices. My daughter made hers. Some people spend years trying to build a family. Mine chose me back.